I've been meaning to pick your brain because since I found out about Thankskilling,
Okay.
like I want to talk about that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You've been talking about it for years, but I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite Thanksgiving tradition movies. It's right up there with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Dutch. Remember Dutch?
Wow.
Remember Dutch?
Oh, I absolutely do. I mean, that's an honor, and I'm sorry, and that's awesome.
Well, how did that even come to be? Had you been acting already beforehand, and that or was that one of your first like adult roles, or how did that happen?
Yeah, the story is actually super interesting because the director Jordan Downey, him and I had gone to school together in Heath, which is right next to Newark. You hear Newark, Ohio, and then Heath, Ohio. It's like the smaller stepsister, right?
Yeah.
And we went to high school together. We would, stay the night at each other's house and, go to the video store and rent all these terrible movies like Chopping Mall or Ice Cream Man, just all these really bad horror movies. And we made a little movie in our film class together in an abandoned school. When it came time to go to college, he got into Loyola Marymount in Los Angeles. And he was one grade ahead of me, so I applied there when it was my time. I didn't get in, but I went to OU instead. I went to Ohio University instead to do film. So he's there, I'm here. Time goes by, and this one summer he comes back. We meet at a Jolly Pirate Donuts.
Shout out to Jolly Pirate Donuts.
Jolly Pirate Donuts. He throws down this script in front of me. It's called Thankskilling, and I just kind of got a chuckle out of it. I'm like, what is this? He's like, look, so for our senior thesis project, we've got to shoot a movie, and I wrote a part for you, Darren the Nerd, because I was always kind of like the theater kid in high school. So I did a lot of theater, and I did, acting all throughout high school. So he's like, I wrote this part for you. I want you to be in this, but we've got 3 weeks. We got to go like now, and I need help filling these roles. So we were literally in Jolly Pirate Donuts just drinking coffee, probably for 12, 13 hours, just making calls, filling slots, and filled all the slots, and we literally just started filming, just guerrilla style.
Did you really do it in 3 weeks?
Literally did it, and I think that we finished general shooting in about 2.5 weeks.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
and I think I probably discovered the movie in a similar way to a lot of people through Netflix.
Yeah,
it was. Do you find when you talk to people about it, that was the discovery point for them? It was kind of the earlier days when Netflix was really a booming, entity.
Yeah, that's when everything went crazy, because once they finished the film and submitted everything to their class, the whole cast, we didn't hear from Jordan or the other producer, Kevin Stewart. We didn't hear from them for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Wow.
We did a premiere here in Columbus. We all showed up to the premiere, and that was a lot of fun. Was it Studio 35, I think, at the time? But yeah, we had a great premiere in Columbus, and then heard nothing for a couple of years, and then out of nowhere, people started like, oh, Thankskilling. Like, it just kept coming up in conversation. And the Netflix, when you were talking about it booming, it was at that transition point where they were going from DVDs, sending mailers, and transitioning to streaming. So streaming was so new, so that was a point where they were taking anything. So if you recall the early days of Netflix, it was a lot of garbage. There really wasn't a lot of anything good when they first started that.
And now I'm on there and I'm like, I've seen it. You know,
right, it's like it's regressed.
But the selection's amazing. But I'm just so spoiled. You know what I mean? I think
exactly.
You're just kind of flipping through and you've seen everything, but through Netflix.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean that's how it took off. It was nuts, and it literally, when people talk about things just happening super fast, that's when things went nuts. When it hit Netflix, I started getting emails and Facebook requests. Hey, conventions were off the chart for a couple of years, which was crazy because it's I'm just some regular guy going to conventions and stuff. So yeah, that was when things just skyrocketed.
Do you ever do any conventions anymore? Is there still like a reunion kind of anniversary dates and stuff like that sort of thing?
Yeah, there are. It doesn't slap like it used to.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be able to, throw my name out there with the title behind it, and I would get picked up really fast. Past 6-7 years or so. It's really like the Thankskilling thing's dried up. Like it always peaks, come Thanksgiving. People are very interested.
Yeah.
I'm doing a convention. It's called Con on the Cob in Richfield, just outside of Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
They asked me to do like a Thankskilling panel. So yeah, I mean, things pop up every now and again, but it's not like it was.
That's coming up this fall.
Yeah, that's going to be the first weekend in October.
Yeah, I'm going to be there for that.
It'll be really
That's awesome.
fun.
That's really cool.
It's always a good time. It's always fun getting to talk about the movie.
So, I was reading online a little bit about some of like the other films you've been involved in, and you were an executive producer on the Mothman documentary, which I gotta say, man, it's hilarious to me because I discovered you through your music. Rob from Punk Rock Saves Lives and Brandon from Punkerton introduced me to your music, and I got really into it. And then I was learning more about it. I'm like, holy shit, he was in this movie that I love. And I'm like, he produced this documentary that I literally just watched a couple months ago. So tell me a little bit about that, because I'm really interested in that as well. The Mothman legend, I think, for anybody, that lives in this region of the country, from like Point Pleasant, West Virginia, right? Yeah. It's a fascinating story. So tell me a little bit about that, man. Like, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, the film itself is great. The filmmaker did such a wonderful job, and I don't know if you follow him, but he puts out a whole monster series. So he's constantly covering anything from Mothman to Bigfoot.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Covers a whole wide gamut
I think
of
it was
things.
maybe... I found it on one of the streaming networks.
Okay,
I can't remember which one it was, but that's how I was like, oh, this is cool, another Mothman thing.
So one of my good friends, his name's Adam Whitten. He runs a company called Siphono Ventures, and essentially what he does and what I was doing at the time is we would go out and go fishing for movies, and we would get filmmakers to sign with our company, and we would. It's the same deal with like the music business, with movie business. You get all these independent filmmakers like, hey, sign up with us. We'll do all the stuff that you probably can do, but it's going to be a lot less work. We'll get your film distributed. You want on Amazon, Netflix, Apple TV, etc. We'll do all that work for you, but we're going to take a cut of that. And one of the first films that I had signed when I was working at Siphono was the Mothman doc. So I got to be with the filmmaker, and we worked out the deal. It was really just a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and that's the credit that stuck. Yeah. I had no hand in making anything and didn't do anything with post-production. I just worked on getting that sold to a distributor, and they're the ones who put it out. So whatever you watched it on, that was because we worked out a deal.
That's awesome. It was either, I want to say it was Hulu or Prime.
Yeah.
It was one of those, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah, just like me, searching blindly, like, what horror movies or documentaries have I not seen? You know what I mean? So are you still, I imagine, very much into that genre? Like, you love horror movies to this day and stuff?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I still, it takes a lot of work. It's different. It's very weird doing things, in your late teens, early 20s, and having the time and availability to say, oh, hey, I'm going to go out and shoot this movie that my friend wrote a script to. Like, it's a lot easier.
It's very, like, Evil Dead.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
Right, yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'd love to do something again. I would love to do another kind of film. I would love to dabble more in horror, but time just doesn't make that available, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It'll happen one day. I've got plenty of ideas. One day there will be a new movie or something that pops out.
Right on, man. You eagerly await that. That's really cool. I mean, part of the reason that there's not much time, I imagine, is because of the progress and the sort of speed at which your music career's taken off over the last few years, right? So you were saying that you've been doing this for a while, but so I want to go back to kind of how you got your start in the music scene a little bit. Where did that kind of happen along the lines of your interest in theater and movies, and then crossing over to music?
Sure. Yeah. So I was in a street punk band throughout high school and college, and like a little bit out of college, but we had. I was kind of managing the whole band, and I was the one getting us the shows. But we had opened for like the Casualties, the Unseen.
Oh, okay.
We opened for Jerry Only's Misfits, is sold out.
I like Jerry Only's Misfits.
I mean, yeah, you have to make that.
Even now, they're billing themselves as the original Misfits.
Original Misfits.
There's a distinction to be made,
exactly,
without a doubt.
We played Riot Fest. We played Warped Tours in '05 and '06. Like we did a lot, and
No kidding.
It was a lot of work to get us there. We did a couple regional tours, and then it was time to call it a day. We had been together for about 8 or 9 years, and so we broke up. And I was exhausted. I'm like, man, I don't want to be a drummer and start another band. Like, it's just a lot of work. But I went to the show. I think it was like Bowling for Soup and American Hi-Fi, and this guy named MC Lars was opening.
Yeah.
And I watched this guy, and
It's funny.
I remember watching him. I'm going, this guy looks like such a nerd up there, like just all by himself, like at this rock and roll show. And mind you, I was like a prestigious punk kid with a mohawk. I mean, I thought like, oh, if you don't listen to hardcore punk, like if you're a hardcore kid, like get out of here.
I was there once upon a time in my youth.
Yeah, I mean, there was I had some things like that, some prestigious thoughts in my head, a holier than thou attitude. So I saw this guy MC Lars, and I'm like, dude, this guy's just ridiculous. But then when the band broke up, I'm like, I got an Apple laptop for graduating high school. I've kind of got some programs. I could make beats, and I could probably just do my own thing. And so I did. I wrote this really short EP and put it out, and I was just doing it. And I did the same set probably for like countless years, 6, 7, 8 years.
Now, at that point, were you passionate about it? Were you just like, this is kind of fun, I'm like poking fun at it? It wasn't really something you were taking super serious yet?
100%. 100%. I wasn't taking it serious. It was a hobby. It was a way for me to, get some frustrations out, after a hard work day. I would do 1, maybe 2 shows a year.
Yeah.
And that was really about it. So it was really just a hobby for a very long time.
Yeah. At what point did that kind of transition over to like, all right, let's make a real go of this? You saw some momentum, right? People responding to it.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't. I wouldn't say that there was a whole lot of momentum with people responding to with any feedback to any music that I've made, but the answer is truly just like the pandemic. Everything, slowed down, and there was no creative outlet anymore. I couldn't book any shows. It was really tough, and so I just decided I'm just gonna write something because I haven't written anything in a long time, and I did that. And I was actually working with MC Lars. So him and I, like, we actually had some FaceTime during the pandemic,
awesome.
And we worked together on so many different things, and he really kind of taught me and took me under his wing to teach me some different things about the industry and the genre. I learned a lot about hip hop. I was never really a hip hop head until I really he kind of thrust me into it. It's like, hey, you're gonna start listening to Wu-Tang, bud. Like, get all this stuff under your belt.
Yeah.
And I did, and I really embraced it. I learned a lot. I read so many books. There's a book called Other People's Property that he had me read, and it really opened up a lot of doors and opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I have a real heavy appreciation for hip hop music, and that punched me in the gut. I wrote some new stuff, and it's like super fun. I really enjoyed. I got it done with. I recorded the Bad Rapper EP. Which was recorded during the pandemic with Tim Waters from Cotter.
Yeah, very cool. I love that.
We Are the Movies.
That's awesome. Love Cotter.
Yeah.
Right on. That's funny. To this day, I still. So when I first heard your stuff, and I'm like, man, that reminds me of MC Lars. Because he was the first artist of this style that I ever heard, and I don't know if he came up with this or if he stole it, but to this day, I still quote his doing things for CPs, comedic purposes.
Yep. Yeah.
all the time. Yep. Nobody ever has any idea what I'm talking about. Like, CPs, baby.
Yep. And he's big into Edgar Allan Poe too. He did it. He's doing an entire record on Edgar Allan Poe stuff. He hit really hard with Mr. Raven, which was one of his laptop EP songs, like way back when.
Did he like step away for a while and come back? Am I thinking of somebody else?
He's been doing the independent thing consistently.
Yeah.
He's been on his A game for quite a while.
He was out there though, like in the mainstream for a good while.
He was.
Yeah.
I Bowling for Soup, I really kind of think that tour that he was on when I saw him, that was a very long tour. They probably did an entire year that year with him as opening support, and he from there he just kind of went off on his own, and he's able he can go to any city at this point. He can pack a room. He was just in He was just in England doing some festivals and stuff.
Oh, wow.
He's super self-sufficient at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So somebody that's maybe, would you say, the inspiration really for where where your career has gone?
Oh
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's literally what that was. Fire,
he was the
me,
one.
gasoline. Like
Beautiful.
he was the guy, and that's what opened me up to so many other
that's really cool.
nerd artists.
Yeah, I love it. There's a lot. Yeah,
There's a lot.
It's a fun scene. I want to take a minute for those of you just joining us. I'm sitting here talking with my good friend Ryan Francis, aka Huge Euge, talking a little bit about his start in the world of music and kind of a transition from hardcore street punk into to hip hop, right? I love it. I love it. It's super fun. So,
Jesse, what are you drinking, by the way?
oh yeah, we are drinking something.
This is magic in a glass.
It is
so good.
magic. So this is something I've been saving for a special occasion, and I think this is just that. It is Jefferson Ocean Voyage 23. We were talking earlier. One of the fun things about Jefferson Ocean is the fact that they literally barrel the bourbon and they bring it out onto these barges, and the water rocks it just a little bit, right? And you get a little bit of that salty brine. So every voyage is a little different. I love Jefferson in general, all the stuff that they do, but this is a special one. And bottles can be found, Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not. It's just something people definitely go after, but happy to be sharing a glass here with you, my friend.
Oh, it's delicious. I appreciate you bringing this because this is.
I feel like it's hugging me from the inside. It's great.
Yeah, that's it's definitely a warm embrace.
Yeah.
I feel it too.
Without a doubt. I wanted to ask you before we go too far down the road of hip hop. The same question may come up. One of my favorite things to do is always like to know people's Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Of different genres of pop culture or whatever. So, I know, I'm putting the pressure on.
It's a lot.
I'm putting the pressure on. I wanted to start with your Mount Rushmore of horror films.
Okay.
And then we're going to go Mount Rushmore of punk bands or artists.
Okay, so clarification on the horror films, because to me, horror's got two very specific genres.
Okay.
You have your horror that takes itself seriously, and you have your horror that does not take itself seriously, which
Very true.
a lot of people would consider comedies, but they still fall in the horror genre.
Don't worry, get you going.
Sure. So which are we combining both?
I'm going to say we combine them, whatever it means to you.
Sure. Okay.
Right? Because you can say the same thing about like punk rock.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What subgenre, what road are you going down? So whatever it means to you in that world, in that word.
Fair enough. I think the first film that comes to mind is definitely The Omen. I grew up in a super religious household, and seeing that movie for the first time, literally, I still have scars from how scary.
Oh, this is all for you.
Right.
I was like, oh, jeez.
Like, you're at the altar with this child.
Yeah,
like, what is happening? This is so scary.
Oh.
So that's definitely one. A movie called Ice Cream Man. I brought it up earlier with Clint Howard.
I know that movie.
The tagline, "Now you're ice cream."
I discovered it from the video store, like the VHS, 'cause, like his face on the cover, and I'm like, oh my god, is that Ron Howard's brother?
Yeah,
like,
that,
terrifying.
That's one of my favorites. Another so bad it's good movie that I just adore. It's called Birdemic.
Yes.
Birdemic is it's awful.
It is beyond awful. It's unrepentant awful. Yeah.
The scene where they're trying to fight the birds with like coat hangers, but the birds aren't actually in. They're all these terrible CG birds that they impose.
It looks like clip art that they're fighting. They're swinging coat hangers at.
I haven't seen this one.
It is bizarre.
It is absolutely bizarre. Hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
All right.
So
okay, I'm gonna check that one out.
That's definitely up there. A movie that's coming out with a sequel here very soon. I think they just released the trailer a little while ago, but Orphan is a really fun, somewhat lesser known horror film that I enjoy.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I liked that, and then I gotta go with the classic. I think Nightmare on Elm Street is just absolutely timeless. Nightmare
childhood adversary.
Yeah.
He was my boogeyman.
Yeah,
for sure.
You gotta sleep. That's that's the scariest thing. You gotta sleep.
You have to sleep.
Everyone has bad dreams too. That's horrifying. Yeah. So that's definitely my Mount Rushmore there for horror movies.
That's a great list, man. That's a great list.
I don't know if Birdemic deserves it, but I have to give Birdemic that credit.
That's the only one that I haven't seen out of that, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Can we find it anywhere? Like
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I think
Totally.
it's Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's out there for sure, and it's.
Are you like old school fan of that, or is this an older movie, or is it newer?
It's new in the 2000s for sure.
Okay, so so
because
they had the option of CGI, but
it's
just didn't.
also surprised about climate change.
I forgot about that element.
Some real social commentary there with their terrible CGI.
It aims to be Hitchcockian, and it fails so utterly to be Hitchcockian. Worth watching at the very least.
All right, I'll check it out. There you go. All right, so it's an amazing list. I'm excited to hear the Mount Rushmore of punk bands.
Punk bands
/ artists. It can be like if you wanted to do like the singular,
sure,
front man of the band or the whole band.
So I've always got to give props to Flogging Molly, because I think that Flogging Molly really kind of like they really kind of brought me in. I growing up with the old Warped Tour comps and everything, and the Fat Records comps.
Yeah, man.
I discovered Flogging Molly on the very first compilation album I ever bought, so I gotta push them in there.
How old are you?
I'm 35. 36. Okay. I just had a birthday. Wow, that's my first mess up of my age. That's awful.
Yeah, I just turned 41 and it just sounds weird. I have to stop. I'm 40. That just sounds weird. Same band, same era. Everything you're talking about hits home for me, for sure.
Yeah, so it's definitely Flogging Molly. Huge Lagwagon fan.
Yeah.
Love Lagwagon. Man, the Mount Rushmore questions are hard.
They're supposed to be. I got you.
Frank, I'm going to put Frank Turner in that category, because I know that he's kind of like a folk singer, but he's got some punk rock roots for sure, and I really think that he deserves to be up there. Blink-182, gotta say it. They're definitely up there. And then Riverboat Gamblers get the last spot.
Riverboat Gamblers.
Yeah, I love that band so much.
Man, I used to blast I'm Still Not Dead. Still Not Dead Yet. All the time back in the day. It was like 04, 05 era or whatever, Warped Tour. That I don't remember the name of that album. What's the name of that album?
I remember.
But it's got
Don't Bury Me, I'm Not Dead, and they've got I see. It's like red and black.
Yeah.
I see.
I have the vinyl. I found it for $10 at a local record store. And I'm like, it's like an early edition first pressing.
That's awesome.
I can't remember the name of it though.
I never remember names of albums.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at it. It's not the name of a song.
I know. It's a great pick though.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Not one a lot of people would think to mention.
Right.
You got the heavy hitters. You know what I mean? And then you got Riverboat Gamblers.
They've released new music, but I think that they kind of stay down in Texas. They don't leave Texas very much. So I'm assuming that they probably got families at this point. They'll book a gig and play to a packed room in Texas.
I'm sure. There's some of those bands though from the 03, 04, 05, 06 Warped Tour years that you remember the Rock and Roll Soldiers?
I don't. No.
Yeah, so they're another one of those bands for me.
Okay.
I discovered them through one of the Warped Tour comps. I think
Nice.
they played there a couple times. And they disbanded probably 10, 12 years ago. But they had one really great album, maybe an EP to follow that up, I think, and just kind of petered out. But there's so many of those fun bands, you go through and my CD collection's down in my basement, but dust and all type of thing. Oh my god, I remember all of the Punk-O-Rama. Remember those? Yeah, dude. Those are fun times. That's how I discovered so many of my favorite bands to this day. Was going to the mall and buying the Punk-O-Rama comps.
And they were always cheap. That was the greatest thing.
$4, $5, $6.
Exactly. An entire album would be anywhere from $10 to $15, and then you could just buy a comp with 3 times as many songs on it for $2-3.
They knew their target audience. It was and you got Dropkick Murphys, Flogging Molly, NoFX, Lagwagon, Offspring, Hot Water Music, all these bands. It was just magical time.
Yeah.
And then they changed the name towards the end of the run of Punk-O-Rama. They changed it to something, and I can't remember. They did it one time, and the name's escaping me, but it kind of just died after that. They tried to modernize it, and they brought in some of, so how Epitaph has got some of the the side labels, right? Like Hellcat and,
Right.
and some of those, and they have some hip hop artists and some of them. And they tried to bring that in a little bit, which I thought was a cool idea. It didn't translate to longevity though, for some reason.
Yeah.
Who knows the reason why? But
Sure.
the timing seemed to be on. What did they call it? Ah, damn it.
I'm trying to think, and I can't even think about what they were called at all.
Yeah, because I remember it had, if I'm not mistaken, it had Atmosphere on it.
Yeah,
They were doing some stuff with Bad Religion at that time.
When Slug was doing his early stuff,
Slug.
he was on all these punk comps.
Yeah.
And it was like, this
Everybody-
is so good, but
Yeah.
it doesn't fit the genre.
It doesn't
but it's
fit.
so good.
And everybody thought Slug was Atmosphere.
Right.
Right, you're right. Like, no, Atmosphere is the group.
Right. Atmosphere's the
But-
whole band. Exactly.
Maybe, I don't know what happened there. But he was like, even on the Empire Strikes First, the Bad Religion album, he was on a guest on that. I mean, he was involved in a lot of that stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. Completely agree.
So, what is the future? What are the next steps for Huge Euge and that project? I know you're doing your last edition of your holiday fundraiser,
Yeah.
right? So let's
Yeah.
talk about that and then moving forward. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
The Huge Euge holiday show. Yeah, this will be the 10th. This will be the 10th year.
Yeah.
And final year, I told myself, I was like, I set out, 11 years ago, and I said, I'm going to do this charity event. I'm just going to book a packed room with bands. I wanted to book, like, band, 15 minutes, like, asking the promoter, when can I start? And when is my curfew? Like, I want to know the earliest and
Just
the latest.
jam it full of as
and
much as...
Jam it. And that's what I did every year.
Was it a variety of styles at the very beginning?
At the very beginning, it was multi-genre. And that's what I wanted. I wanted bands who weren't like just setting up in their garage and just learning to play their instruments. I wanted talented friends and bands that someone could sit there and watch a metal band and go, "Wow, they're really talented," and then turn around and watch like a folk band and enjoy
Open people up.
both.
Broaden their
Yeah,
horizons, kind of. Yeah.
expose new genres and open people up to some new stuff. And that was what I set out to do. And I really my best friend at the time was really into stand-up comedy. So I was like, dude, why not? Why can't we? Who says we can't have comedy at a punk rock show? Like, let's put comedy
Punks like
in
to
here.
laugh sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes.
And I realized that was my first show 11 years ago, and it was at Bernie's Distillery. I don't know if you ever heard of Bernie's
I
Distillery.
don't even know Bernie's.
It was on OSU campus off of High Street, and it was in the basement. It was like, I think it was in Rolling Stone once, and they called it the CBGBs of Columbus. I mean, this place
That's
is
cool.
Sticky floors,
Yeah.
no door on the bathroom stall kind of place.
It's like, is that the ultimate backhanded compliment for a venue?
Oh, it really is.
You are the CBGBs of your state.
It absolutely is. I had so many nights that I had performed there in the punk band and stuff, and I had it there. I wanted to get the owner of the business some sales for a Friday or Saturday. They weren't always packed. They were rarely ever packed. And I wanted to introduce comedy there, but this place was standing room only. You've got a comedian going up on this little tiny stage, and they're trying to do stand-up comedy in a room with like 60 people trying to watch some bands. And wasn't the best. It wasn't the greatest. It was really difficult for them. Lots of hecklers because everyone's wasted.
Now, is that because of, do you think, the venue or the venue size, or maybe just the trying to do too much and bring all of this in? Do you think?
I think it was too much trying to bring everything in.
Yeah.
It was too much. I've learned over the years because I've put comedy into all of these shows, and I've learned over the years, comedians want to do comedy in a comedy venue. They don't even like doing comedy at a bar that has a stage. Like, they don't even like that because there's too much going on. Like, TVs are on, people aren't paying attention.
They want the eyes on them.
They need people in a seat with focus on them. That's what they need.
I get that. I imagine it would be distracting. If you're up there trying to do your bit, right, and you notice this person, you can see everything, right?
Yep.
They're watching the game, they're talking, they're ordering really loudly at the bar. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
I get it. I never thought about it, but it makes total sense.
It does, and
Yeah.
it took me a very long time to realize that this was kind of an issue. Over the years, I slotted out, like, we're going to do the comedy hour. And so I would do an hour and a half before the music started.
Yeah.
And I would have chairs out, and
Nice.
then I'd pull the chairs later. But I wanted to pull the chairs later. But what happens is when you put chairs out, people don't get up and leave their chair. So then
You're gonna have to.
right. So then you're just kind of like, man, we've got like this really fast, aggressive punk band going on,
With metal
and
chairs.
people are sitting in chairs. Like, I just don't. This doesn't work. So yeah, it took me a long time to learn, but this is going to be the very first year that I'm splitting it into 2 nights, respectively. There's going to be a comedy show night, and then there's going to be a night with a bunch of bands. So
That's awesome.
finally, at the very end
Yeah.
of my stretch, we've done the right thing, I think.
That's really cool. So do you have? Are you allowed to talk about any of the artists or the bands? Or
Yes,
anything? Or
I want to announce. I want to announce
wanna-
stuff today. Let's
Okay.
announce some things.
Oh, let's do it.
So it's really, really exciting. The show is going to be happening on December 9th and 10th this year. It's a Friday and Saturday in Columbus on December 9th. This is the first time anyone's ever heard of this. On December 9th,
It's an exclusive.
Exclusive. This is an exclusive. This is a big deal. So on December 9th, I'm super pumped. It's going to be the comedy show. It's going to be a Friday night comedy show. Venue's still to be determined. That'll be announced later.
Okay.
And I haven't announced any of the artists yet, but I wanted to announce the headliner for this show.
All right.
So are you familiar with old Nickelodeon like game shows like from the 90s?
Yes, I am.
You are?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
Okay, so like the Double Dares, Legends of the Hidden Temple.
That's my jam.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you remember a show called Nick Arcade?
I do.
Okay, they had
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
green screen,
Yeah.
and the kids
Yeah.
would go into the gates.
It was
and
awesome.
You're a kid, and you're like, I want it.
I want to be on that show
I
so
want to be
bad.
on this show because all these kids suck and they can't do anything.
I can do so much better.
They're terrible. I can do so much better than these kids. The host, his name is Fillmore.
Right.
He came out in 2016 when I had the show at Woodlands Tavern, and we recreated Nick Arcade at Woodlands Tavern. And it's one of the best times I've ever had as a promoter, and just watching an idol of mine from childhood cuss out adults playing Sonic the Hedgehog. Incredible. He is coming back to Columbus
that's
on
amazing.
December 9th, and we are going to be doing the same thing. We'll be replicating the TV show. We'll be picking contestants for the game show out of the audience. It'll be a trivia show where Mikey, the game board, you want to move Mikey to the left, you'll be able to do that. We're going to have a whole Mikey board. We're going to have we're going to have a huge board with video games that you can choose from when you get a video challenge. There's a lot that's going to be happening, but he'll be headlining the December 9th show. So
That is
it's going to be wild.
Awesome, man.
Really, I'm so excited just to have him back. He is a wonderful guest. He is an incredible human being. He does a lot of stuff. He was in. I did not even know this. The last time that he visited, he was in Ernest Goes to Jail.
Oh, really?
Do you remember the Ernest shows? Like
Yeah.
Giovanni?
The jail one was particularly dark.
The jail one was particularly dark, and
Yeah.
he was in jail with the evil twin.
Oh, wow.
At the very beginning, yeah. So he has that credit, and it's like
That's a cool
crazy.
thing. I remember watching that show all the time when I was a kid, and it was one year I was in the 5th grade, and they had like a movie day, and we watched Ernest Goes to Jail, and I'm like, this is not like the show.
So it was.
This is dark. It's scary.
The evil twin
Right.
frames him.
Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah. He's so fun. Highly recommend checking that out. And then of course December 10th, a whole list of bands: Brave the Sea, We Are the Movies, Cotter.
Nice.
It's jam packed with so many bands. Drew West, who's an incredible hip hop artist out of Columbus.
Still going the multi-genre style.
Yeah. Trying to keep it as multi-genre as possible, but selfishly, I really wanted a bunch of my friends to be a part of this event, and it just so happens I've got a lot of friends and a lot of really good bands. So,
for sure.
It's a really cool opportunity for me to kind of selfishly book this in a way that I'm going to get some multi-genres, but they're all my friends.
For the last hurrah, I really did blow
Yeah.
up. But is this absolutely 100%? This is it, or do you foresee yourself ever revisiting doing this or something like this again in the future? Because 10 years is a fantastic run.
Yeah.
That is hard. I don't know if
Thank
people
you.
realize how hard that is to do something like at this level for that long.
Yeah, thanks. It was hard. I'm not going to say no because there's always the opportunity to do something else. I think that I'd like to. I'm really kind of at this point where I'm ready to partner with somebody. Booking these shows, like I've had Lori Beth Denberg from All That on the holiday show. You know,
wow, yeah, that's
Old
cool.
Man Markley, they were on Fat Records. I had them come out.
Yeah. Wow, man, that's awesome.
Samwell from the What in the Butt viral video, he's come out a few times.
I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things. Like I do know this. It's weird.
That's awesome.
Virgil, do you remember Virgil from the WWE? He came out with $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
He came out one time too. Like
Virgil,
yeah.
all right. I'm a big old school wrestling fan,
Oh, okay,
and
so you know
new school with
Virgil.
AEW.
Okay,
I've
yeah.
met Virgil. I have a signed picture of Virgil.
He wasn't lonely that
No,
day.
no, he wasn't.
He wasn't lonely that day.
Virgil. So here's a fun story. Virgil, I met him like in the late '90s at some autograph show,
Okay.
and he spelled my name wrong, and I had the audacity to point it out to him, and he got pissed at me
Oh no.
because he had to give me another one for free.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Man.
He likes his money.
He does. I feel really bad. This will be a plug for his Instagram. He's going through some tough times. He's been diagnosed with dementia and I think a couple other medical issues.
Yeah.
So he's kind of got to go fund me up right now.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's definitely a wild character. He really loves Olive Garden. He actually has a video. He has a game.
The breadsticks.
Yeah, he has a game that you can buy if you've got an iPhone or an Android called Meat Sauce Madness. It's $3. I'm telling you, it is an incredible game. Download it, Meat Sauce Madness, and he got someone to build that for him.
That's amazing, and you know he's I loved Virgil. I was a big Roddy Piper fan.
Oh yeah,
WrestleMania 7 when Virgil fought the $1 Million Man and
Oh.
Roddy was in his corner.
Yep.
And Virgil was one of the NWO. Let's put up a 2 sweet
Dude,
for Virgil.
he was.
Yeah,
he was.
NWO members. He was
was.
Vincent at the
Yeah,
time.
Vincent. Yep.
I was just watching a video the other day. This is what I do. I get online and watch old wrestling videos from the 90s.
Same.
So I got on there, and it was when he was with WCW, and Kevin Nash sent Vincent, aka Virgil, to go out and deliver some bad news to somebody in the ring. At this point, Vincent was smartening up, so he found the Disco Inferno. And he talked the Disco Inferno into delivering the bad news, and he immediately got his ass beat. And then he walks back in, and everybody's like, Vincent, you're getting smart.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
He's in so much. I've got a funny story if we've got time.
I want to hear it.
So I specifically really enjoy like booking talent from childhood because nostalgia makes me happy, and I think that it makes a lot of other people happy. When
For sure.
I booked Lori Beth Denberg, she called me on my cell phone from her cell phone. She's like, "Do you know who this is?" I'm
That's
like,
cool.
I have no idea.
That's just
She's like,
cool.
This is Lori Beth Denberg, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, the loud librarian just called me my whole day. I'm so happy." But like, I love seeing people get super excited, like at the show, getting to meet someone who you would never think in a million years you would ever meet, right? And so when it comes time to go on the search to book these people, it's a tedious process. Like, who's got an Instagram? Because I don't go through agents. I mean, there's too much hassle. It's
You go,
just kinda
like, direct?
I try to go direct as possible. I'm looking at Instagrams, websites. I mean, I'll send email after email after, for every 100 emails you send out, you get 5 no's, and then you never hear from anybody else. Like, so it's a lot of work, little reward. But this one time, I had been in the process of doing this. I had been sending out these emails, getting prepared for the next show. I'd sent out hundreds, and I'm at work. I was working at a call center at the time. I was sitting in my cubicle, and my phone rings. And when you do this kind of thing, and your phone rings, you always answer it.
Sure.
If it's a number that's not in your phone, you always answer it. 'Cause
The anticipation. Who could it be?
It could be anybody.
Who could it be?
Like,
Is it Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
Right, exactly.
Like, I don't know.
99 out of 100 times, it's a guy telling you about your car's extended warranty. That's what it always is. But that one time that you don't answer, it's someone else. And I got off the phone's still ringing. I pick it up and I go, "Hey, this is Ryan." That's how I answer my phone, or how I answered it then. "Hey, this is Ryan." And the guy goes, "Ryan, this is Ted DiBiase." I almost like all bowel movements almost left my body, and I'm just like, oh, hello, Mr. DiBiase. Like, we want to call him Ted.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, Mr. DiBiase.
Hello, Mr. $1 Million Man.
Hey, I got this voicemail. I got this email from you like 6 months ago, and I just wanted to follow up and see if you had a moment to chat about your little event. And I'm like, I was totally like caught off guard. I had no idea that this was going to happen. And yeah, we chummed it up. We probably talked for about 30 minutes, and he was
amazing.
I was asking him like, hey, you know, what's it going to take to get you here? He's like, this is what I want. He told me how much he wanted paid, and I was like, well, what about flights? He's like, don't worry about flights. Like, he's like, Ryan, come on. I've been flying my whole life. I've got rewards. I can get a flight out anywhere for free. Like, don't even worry about that. And I was like, okay. He was very, very kind.
Yeah.
He was very expensive.
Yeah, I also
don't want to say very expensive, but way out of my little work paycheck budget.
I mean, for a man that literally had like dollar signs on his
right. But he was going to be the follow-up to Virgil in 2017, and that just ended up not working out. But that was just such an incredible, like, what the heck? Like, he just called me from his personal phone.
Well, no, what would he have done if he had been there? Would like an autograph signing? Would he have done like a kind of a Q&A? What did you envision?
Everything.
Yeah?
Everything. I leave it up. I mean, since they're doing me the solid, I kind of leave it up to them. Just your presence alone, your name on this flyer, your presence alone means the world to me. What do you want to do? Do you want to get up on stage and do a Q&A? You want to tell some stories? Like, you want to sit at a table and just sell stuff? Whatever you want. 9 out of 10 times, they're totally, well, I'll go on stage, I'll talk. Lori Beth Denberg, that's how I approached her with the idea, and she's like, oh, I'll go up on, she went up on, it was that Big Room Bar, she went up on stage, and she's telling the story about who here's been slimed at Nickelodeon. And of course, no one in Columbus, Ohio has been slimed at Nickelodeon Studios. We're like, no. She's like, well, let me tell you what it's like. It falls on your head, it gets in your ear, it's thick. But the worst part is the slime runs down your back and into your butt crack. And I'm like,
I knew I was going there. I knew it.
You know what? I never thought of that. You see people get slimed on TV all the time. I never actually thought that it would like legit just run down your back into your butt crack. Like,
you don't think about that. That's awesome. Well, I know you're gonna play a couple songs. You're performing a couple songs. I'm super excited about that. But I did want to ask you what's next for Huge Euge and that project.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm working on it. I'm trying to write a new record right now. I've been doing what I call beat harvesting. I spend hours just looking at producers' beats and trying to find stuff that I think really vibes with something I'm going for. And then I siphon through all those and I kind of narrow it down to like, here's like this, 6 to 12 that I really like. And then I'll start negotiations with the producer of those beats to figure out, how much it is to purchase. So I'm kind of doing that right now, working on a new record. I've got a single coming out soon.
Okay.
Very soon. It's a one-off. It's called The Monster Jam. It'll be featuring Prowess the Testament. She's based in D.C. Yeah. And the Monster Jam is about the monsters. So
I want to make sure I heard. It was like, was that Monster or Munster? I heard Munster.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sold either way, but the Munster. Yeah. And it's the timing's great with the new movie coming out.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm a longtime Munsters fan. I'm excited about the movie. I'm not a huge Rob Zombie fan.
Hit or miss.
We'll
right?
see we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm giving him a chance.
Yeah.
But beyond writing the new record, I'm just really focused on keeping the momentum going, continuing to book some shows, booking smart, in Columbus, hoping to tour next year. Really hoping to do a little, 7 to 14 day road show, hopefully in support of someone that's willing to help out a little bit.
That's what I was going to ask you. You prefer support slots, or do you want to headline any of these?
I don't think that I'm truly ready to headline yet. Okay. I think I've got some work to do on my numbers as far as like music plays and purchases go. I think I've definitely got pull on some major demographics. Like Chicago's going to be a really good pull for me. Detroit's going to be a really good pull for me. Columbus is always a good pull for me. But I'm going to need a little bit of help to kind of get there. And I think that this second record, because this will be the second record, literally the second record that I took super serious and invested a lot of time and money into as far as like production quality. So just the follow-up to Bad Rapper. So I'm hoping that this is going to be the one that really just claws a couple more people onto my side.
Right on, man.
We'll see.
I wish you much success.
Cheers,
Ryan.
no,
thank you so much for being my guest today. I'm really excited to be able to sit down and talk with you and nerd out about some stuff.
Thanks for having me. I feel like we're going to hit the bar after this now and talk some more pro wrestling.
I could go on. Horror movies, punk rock, and pro wrestling. Like, God, right? Good Lord.
That's all you need.
Yeah, we got more time going with that. But so you're gonna perform a couple for us?
Yeah. I've got a couple songs. I've got a couple songs.
What are you gonna be doing?
So the first song that I'm gonna do is one of my personal favorites because it's almost like a name title track. It's called 3 First Names.
Okay.
It's just kind of like the Huge Euge anthem, I like to call it. It's my song about stuff that I like and stuff that I like to do. So 3 First Names is the first song that I was gonna do. And then as far as the second song, I'm still undecided. It was going to be kind of like an on-the-fly decision.
Let's do it. We'll keep it that way.
Let's keep it that way. We'll
right,
do
brother.
the on-the-fly. We'll do a little performance.
Salute. Let's do it.
All right, let's go there.
How many first names does it have?
Just another guy here with 3 first names. Living a life that's not mundane. Got a phone in my pocket and a wallet in the back and a canister of Cool Whip. Let's get back on track. Mark with some attitude, a pen and some paper. I'll treat you better than State Farm and be a better neighbor. Wanna come to my house to share a beer or two? That's okay with me if that's okay with you. Gotta do some laundry, most of it is dirty. Sitting there for hours and it's smelling kind of earthy. But watch Power Rangers chat about the swords. Get our Nerf guns out, start a fight with swords. Slam a shot of whiskey and make fun of the room. Or just sit on my couch staring at pictures of the moon. Nevertheless, I look forward to your company. Feel free to bring another friend, invite anybody. And I'm coming in strong, I've got 3 first names, so I can't be wrong. Middle name is Eugene, short down to Huge. My name is Huge Euge. My name is Huge Euge. And I'm writing the tracks, I've got 3 first names if you have to ask. Middle name is Eugene, short down to Huge. My name is Huge Euge. Chicken taquito or a bean burrito? Would you really mind if I wore a blue Speedo? If we hang out in the dark, I will light a candle. Prop my feet up on the table while I wear a leather sandal. Take an Uber over to the local pub. Grab a slice of pie made by my friend Doug. It's only the beginning, let's not one at a time. Head back to my house to slam a bottle of wine. If you go to the bathroom while I'm gone, don't be surprised if you see Celine Dion. It may be kinda crazy, really kinda random, but that's the only way I can express my fandom. I got LASIK on my eyes so I can finally see. Don't worry, I won't look while you pee. Life is kinda weird, it really is strange. I'm just a guy that has 3 first names. And I'm coming in strong, I've got 3 first names, so I can't be wrong. Middle name is Eugene, short down to Huge. My name is Huge Euge. My name is Huge Euge. And I'm writing the tracks, I've got 3 first names if you have to ask. Middle name is Eugene, short down to Huge. My name is Huge Euge. My name is Huge Euge. And I'm coming in strong, I've got 3 first names, so I can't be wrong. Middle name is Eugene, short down to Huge. My name is Huge Euge. My name is Huge Euge. And I'm writing the tracks, I've got 3 first names if you have to ask. Middle name is Eugene, short down to Huge. My name is Huge Euge. Hey, 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 hey. If I wore a blue Speedo. Hey, 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 huh, huh. If I wore a blue Speedo. Ah. Hey, hey. I'm drenched in Cool Whip, head to toe. Yeah.
That's not very funny.
It's not funny. The next song I want to do, it's about my best friend's cat. It's called Callie the Cat. She's a 7-pound black domestic short hair. Eats plants, she's the queen of the lime green armchair. pass her off, cause you're gonna get wrecked. Oh, give her some ham and cheese. Dive into the water just to go to sleep. Callie the cat. Oh, give her some catnip, please. Go into my arms just to get a squeeze. Callie the cat.
Oh, hello there, little kitty. Oh, you're just such a cute little kitty there. Oh, look how cute you are. Oh, you want to come onto my lap and you want to snuggle? Here, have a little toy. Oh, here, have a. Oh, why are you looking at me, little cat? Here's a toy. Go get it. Go get it. Oh my God. Oh my kitty. Oh my God.
I ain't no prima donna, just a diabolical king. Digesting my favorite canned food, chicken. Fucking up your furniture, stretching my legs. Tommy's in the kitchen, making bacon and eggs. Shitting on your feelings like I did in the litter. I'm not a dog, bitch, I don't need a babysitter. I do what I want, and I follow no one. Ain't no war in this house, cause I've already won.
Oh, give us some ham and cheese. Dive into the water just to go to sleep.
Callie the cat.
Oh, give us some catnip, please. Crawl into my arms just to get a squeeze.
Callie the cat. Oh, I said Callie the cat. That is it. Thank you guys.
Meow, meow. Thanks.
Boxland Media. Think big.